How many of you are addicted? And I don't mean addicted to any drug or substance, even though that could be the case, and it often is the case for many people. But I mean addicted to the endorphin high, the dopamine high that training gives you. I would say pretty much all of you that are watching this, probably are. You are probably addicted to that feeling that you get after a really hard workout. When you go home and you sit down on the couch and you just feel accomplished. Maybe you hit a new personal best. Maybe you just had a savage all over workout. You are addicted to that feeling. That's why so many of you hate having rest days. That's where that ridiculous hashtag no days off comes in. I actually used to be like that a lot. I hated taking any rest days. And then over the years, injuries grew. I had bone spurs, which ended up with tendons tearing. The overuse did get to me, but that was because I was addicted. I was addicted to that feeling. Then after a couple of surgeries, I lost that addiction. However, that need for a dopamine release, that need to get that rush was still there. So what did I do? I did many things actually. One of which was I bought 2 Audi R8s. First I bought a V8 and that was awesome. And then I bought a V10 with a supercharger, which I still have, which is super, super awesome. But you get addicted. First time you go at 120 miles an hour. Wow, you get a rush, you're going so fast. And it just climbs from there. Once you've done 180 miles an hour, anything else beneath that doesn't even feel that fast anymore. Of course it is. Of course it's extremely reckless, moronic, and nobody should ever do that. Because you're not only risking yourself, you're also risking other people's well-being. But the point is, if you have that addiction to working out, it is very important that you refocus your mind now and get back to it. Some of you are doing this. Some of you are not. Some of you are more like myself and you're perfectionists. So if everything isn't just right, if you don't have the right gym, the right setup, your nutrition, everything isn't right, you're just like, you know what, forget it. I'm not even gonna bother. And I'll tell you the truth. That was me for a good chunk of the past couple of years. If I didn't feel like everything was lined up perfectly, I didn't go and train. I didn't do what I needed to do. So I ended up not getting that release of endorphins. I didn't get that dopamine high. So I was seeking that high from elsewhere, such as with the car. And I actually have many examples I could use using myself, but the car to me, that makes the most sense and it's easiest to relate with the driving faster and faster and faster to get the same kind of rush and feeling. So if you're sitting at home now and you're thinking to yourself, I really want to try, the gym has to reopen, I'm going to take a few days off, the gym's going to reopen. I've got news for you. Gym's not reopening anytime soon. And when they say it's going to reopen by whatever date, chances are it's not going to happen. So now you have 2 choices. First choice, you just kind of wallow in it. You don't get back on the horse as far as training goes, and slowly but surely you might start doing destructive behavior, whatever that might be. For some people, it could be driving fast in a car. For other people, it might be taking recreational drugs. For other people, it might be, could be anything. It could be, you think about it, you think for yourself what you enjoy to do, what's addictive for you to do. Your second choice is you get back on the horse today. You make whatever home gym setup you have ideal. And I don't mean in the sense of that you have all the perfect equipment, because you're not going to, right? You're not going to have every single piece of equipment that your big goals gym has. You're not going to have that. You're going to be limited. You might not even have anything. You might just have body weights and a couple of bands and maybe a dumbbell or 2. But in your mind, you have to make that the perfect setup. You have to make that you have to make that your goals Venice gym, the perfect environment for you to achieve your goals. Because guess what? If you get in there and you believe in your head, and I mean you really believe that the setup is ideal and that you can achieve whatever goals you have set out for yourself with the limited equipment that you have, then you're going to achieve it. Because here's a little secret. Go to any enormous gym where they have 1,000 pieces of every type of equipment that you can imagine, dumbbells up to 220 pounds, whatever, and look around at the people. They're generally not in better shape than people you'll find in a small gym. In fact, often, the people you find in a smaller gym, let's say like Elite Fitness, my old gym, that Kevin DeHaven now owns, is more ideal because it gives you less excuses, basically. If you get onto one of those, what are they? I forget what they're called. I think they're called like a hoist machine. I think it's hoist, where the machine actually moves while you perform an exercise. So literally, you'll be doing seated curls and the whole seat is moving with you. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. But it is equipment made to make people feel like they're doing more than they're actually doing. Because when they do a curl and the entire body moves, they feel like, wow, I'm doing a lot right now. In reality, you're doing basically F all. You're doing some curls on a machine that's moving back and forth. You look ridiculous, it is ridiculous. Well, if you have a small gym, let's say you just have a power rack, you got your barbell, you got your plates, maybe you got some dumbbells, maybe you don't. You are going to be stuck with the basics. Your basic exercises, your squats, your deadlifts, your presses, your shoulder presses. And the reality is, those are the implements that create the most change. Generally, what is the most basic, the most simple, will create the most change and growth. And that can be said about everything in life. Generally, the more simple something is, as long as you put in hard, consistent work, your goals are achieved. Just think how many millionaires there are that didn't have a college degree, that they started with nothing, right? Maybe a paper route and they just hustled their way up to the very top. Often, I think there's an element of luck involved for a lot of those people, but it still comes down to one thing, and that is hard work. So if you are wanting to achieve your goals, if you are wanting to compete later in the year or next year, now is the time to do it. Now is the time to train harder than you've trained before. Why? Because most people will not do that. Most people have this big time lag between quarantine, getting themselves set up, getting their mind right, training, getting back in the routine of everything. Often we're talking about a couple of weeks. For a large percentage of people, honestly, they're not going to be back on track until gyms are open again. And who knows how long that is. That gives you X number of weeks, months to get ahead of everybody else. And it also keeps you psychologically on track. So you don't take your addiction that you get, those endorphins and dopamine from a nice hard workout, and start placing them to less productive, let's say, less productive is a good word, less productive areas. The same goes for sitting at home. I mean, here I am making a YouTube video. I hate sitting here in front of a camera, I won't lie, I find it very uncomfortable. But I'm doing it because it's out of my comfort zone and something different to do. And because I have more time to do it. So what have you done today to improve yourself? What have you done to fuel your addiction? And when I say addiction, I mean addiction to growth, both physically and mentally. Because when we're training, when we're under that squat bar and we're on the 18th rep and we're going for 20, and our heart feels like it's about to explode out of the chest, our legs are trembling, our entire body is shaking, but we know we got 2 more reps, and we give it everything we get, and we get those 2 last reps, and we rack the weight, or perhaps the last rep brings us down to the safety supports, And we lay on the floor for the 5-10 minutes, just breathing hard. Your heart is pumping while your cardiovascular system catches up with your anaerobic system. That's really where the growth occurs, both mentally and physically. And you don't need any fancy equipment. You don't need any fancy setup to do that. Like I said in the previous video, there are people in other countries who are lifting concrete blocks and tires. They would look at your home gym like you would look at a world gym or an enormous Gold's gym. That's how they would look at it. When they see your little home gym, maybe you got like a cable station, some kind of a row, or even one of those weirder total home gyms with the cables, they would look at that and they'd be like, wow, they really have it made. All we have are these concrete blocks and these rusty handles that we've stuck into the concrete blocks so we can do exercises. Yet we still give it everything we can. And that's why these people still look good. So it is really, really important that you get up, you make your ideal home gym, your ideal workout environment, wherever that is. Don't do it in your living room. Even if it means dragging all your stuff out onto the porch and then dragging it all back in, make your training environment somewhere unique. For example, I'm using my garage. I don't go in that garage beside to work out or to train my daughter. That's it. Those are the only reasons I go there. In fact, I'm having a separate little garage shed thing made to put my Audi R8 into, which will be right next to it. So I literally have no reason to go in there beside to train. My good friend Matt, Prime Performance on Instagram, his name is, he made an article the other day, and it was such a fantastic article. He was talking about how once you own a gym, it kind of sucks some of the enjoyment out for you. Which is true, because now you're stuck in that gym all the time. You're looking at the equipment all the time. So you get a lot of people who go, oh wow, owning a gym would be so awesome. Not for your own training, it's not. No. You probably think, sitting there at home, oh yeah, if I own my own gym, I'd do 3 workouts a day. Each one would be 30 minutes. It would be optimized. I would, do little body parts, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It doesn't work out like that for 99% of people. For the majority of people, they just become numb to the gym. They become numb to the environment. The music that's always playing doesn't psych them up anymore, even if it's their favorite type of music. Such as in Elite Fitness, we usually would play some kind of heavy metal or hard rock. I found myself changing the station to music that I didn't normally listen to while I worked in there, just so when I trained, I could change the music back over, or I would just wear headphones. But the point is, owning your own gym isn't that awesome. And if a gym owner is saying owning your own gym is not that awesome, that's also a good sign that if you make your own gym with one purpose, that gym is just for you to make your own gains, physically and mentally. That's all it's there for, nothing else. It's not there to make you money. It's not there to make little YouTube clips, but you can. If you want to film some little YouTube clips, do it. But I would suggest either you film your heaviest, hardest, most intense set, or you do your workout and then you film your little intro videos where people are like, oh, this is how you do a cable kickback with one leg, that kind of nonsense. Because the reality is, as soon as you take the phone, take it, and you look at it, you've lost focus. So when I go into the gym and I train personally, I take my phone, I turn it on airplane mode, I turn my favorite music on, I put headphones on, I leave the phone face down in the corner of the gym, and then I don't even look at it until the workout is over. The only exception would be is if I had a really big max set and I wanted to listen to a specific song, but even then I would still only have YouTube music open and I would have everything else closed, so there are no other distractions. That is the key to making gains. That is the key to making results. It is about 100% focus. in your ideal environment. So think about it. Your little basement or garage gym is actually going to be way better than any Gold's Gym, any World's Gym, any gym, because it's your gym. There won't be anybody coming up to you saying, hey, how are you? Distracting you. There won't be anybody using any specific piece of equipment that you had in your mind listed. So you literally take your workout, what you want to do, you write it onto a piece of paper or you memorize it, you rehearse what you're going to do, you rehearse it in a different room. Think about it. Mental rehearsing for about, 10, 15 minutes. Then you get up, you put your headphones on, you walk straight into your gym, into your training area, and you get to work. And you don't stop. You don't stop to answer the phone. You don't stop to answer a text. You simply don't stop until the workout's completed. So even though your equipment may be limited compared to your big gym membership, maybe you have barely any equipment at all. Arnold used to always make these metaphors about imagining how his body would look, imagining his biceps becoming like mountain peaks. He did that for a reason. He did that because mental imagery, I'm not going to say it's everything in bodybuilding because that's of course not true, but it is an enormous part of bodybuilding. I see this all the time. I see these guys who have you ever heard of a nocebo? There's like a placebo effect when I give you a pill and say, this is going to do this and this for you. You take that pill. In reality, it's just a sugar pill. But because I've told you all these things are going to happen, you end up performing better. That's a placebo effect. It can go the other way. It can go nocebo. So let's say you've been listening to whoever you want to listen to on YouTube, and they're telling you, Primobolan under 500 milligrams a week just doesn't do anything. Just doesn't do anything. And that's in the back of your head then, and you there go along and you do your cycle of 500 milligrams of Primobolan, or maybe you only have enough for 400. But in your mind, you've already told yourself this is a weak compound. In reality, I wouldn't even see any effects until after a certain dosage, which is absolute nonsense. Back when they first started using, let's say, Dianabol, the dosage was generally about 15 to 25 milligrams per athlete. That was it. And that was all they were taking. Nowadays, guys are taking 50 milligrams of that combined with other things. And just because somebody online has said it's not the most effective drug possible, or you can only expect this and this amount of gains, they're holding themselves back mentally. And that's my real issue when you see people posting up about these mega cycles online. I mean, anybody can do it. Anybody can go and take all their drugs, fill up several syringes and jab themselves with all the drugs in the world. It's not hard to do. It's very easy to do. But if you go in with a negative mind state where you're already telling yourself that X number of milligrams will only do X number of results, you are giving yourself a nocebo. You are limiting yourself in your mind. Just the same as you are limiting yourself in your mind when you go, well, my home gym isn't as good as the big gym, so maybe I can maintain, maybe I can, that's probably the best I can do. I probably can maintain until the gym opens up. Instead of saying to yourself, no, I'm going to make the best gains I've ever made in my life now because there's no one there to interrupt me. I can go in there exactly when I want, at exactly the time I want. The equipment is free. I can listen to my music. There is no interruptions. I'm going to make the best growth, both physically and mentally, that I have ever made in my entire life, and I'm going to start today. That's the way you should be looking at it. Just like when somebody for the first time takes anabolic steroids, and let's say they're taking 25 milligrams of D-bol, they should be telling themselves the same. They should be telling themselves, I'm taking a very powerful anabolic drug that's going to make me stronger and bigger. I'm literally going to be growing by the day. And you envision your body expanding in size and strength. Guess what? It will. because where the mind goes, the body does follow. And a lot of bodybuilders have realized this, but not that many truly speak about it, not directly anyway. But mental imagery is the key to any kind of sports performance. And I use this as an example. I always, when I write, no, I won't say always, but I'll often in my program say, take this set to momentary failure, meaning you can't get another rep with good form. I mean, you know, if you're doing a deadlift and your back is totally bent over and you pull it up shaped like a banana, then that's not a good rep. There's no point in that. And it's actually going to be counterproductive. But I mean, really take the set to the point where you can't get another rep. And then I have clients send me little videos of themselves training. And I can probably count on one hand how many times I got sent the video for the first time and that set truly was to failure on one hand. Like, it's very, very rare. And then I'll say, listen, that was a good set, but you had like 5 more reps in you. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And the next week they get a couple more reps and they'll say, look, you still had 3 more in you. And as the weeks go by, their self-belief and their belief in what they're capable of increases. And in turn, as performance goes up, so does body composition, meaning you get leaner, you get bigger, you get stronger. Or even if you're just trying to get leaner, as the girls will call it, you get more toned, you get more shapely, because that's really what it is, right? When you're getting more toned, you're gaining some muscle, losing some body fat. It's the exact same as what a bodybuilder does, just on a different level, different scale. Instead of trying to gain 50 pounds of muscle, a bikini girl is trying to gain like 5 pounds of muscle in the right areas. Which leads me to another point. These girls that go, I don't want to get too bulky. Now, I've trained a lot of very high-level females over the years. And a few of them did really respond really, really well and grow really, really quickly. But none of them ever said to me, wow, these results are too fast. I'm getting too big, I'm getting too strong, too fast. I need to back it off. Never happened. Especially not naturally. Never naturally, not even once. So what I tell all the girls is, go in, train as hard as you possibly can, build as much muscle as you can, build as much strength as you can. And then once you have as much size as you need for whatever you're doing, so if it's bikini, it's not going to be that much, but it's going to be some. Once you have that level developed, then you can kind of coast with your workouts more if you want, just kind of maintain. You don't have to push quite as hard because you've built it. Once you've built something, it's pretty easy to maintain it. There's a lot of studies to prove that muscle memory is a very legitimate thing. I mean, I've had several injuries over the years where I lost a lot of muscle and they came right back within no time at all. So it's the same with if you build up, it's hard to build something up, but once it's built up, the muscle memory, the cells are there, satellite cells are created. So you have it. And then you can back off, you can say, okay, I'm not even gonna train my arms anymore because they're getting directly trained. They're indirectly getting trained when I train back and chest and shoulders. You can do it any way you like. But you do need to train intensely. And the very worst thing you can do is, as a girl, is take an anabolic steroid, which will give you masculine side effects to some degree. Maybe you won't even notice it, but it is happening. At least on minute levels, you are having masculizing side effects, whether you realize it or not. And then going and training like circuit, body weight, pump. You see it all the time, these so-called bikini workouts. I've talked about her before, but one of my clients, Ariana, who's actually one of my approved coaches, she competed for the first time last year. And she ended up winning overall at nationals in bikini. Completely drug-free, never touched anything. Did she train super, super heavy? No, not super, super heavy, but super, super hard. And I will be posting up videos of her here soon to show what I mean. Really good form, plenty of volume, really stimulating the muscle correctly. still trying to progressively get stronger, because that's the key. And then for a division like bikini, then you don't need to put horrendous drugs into your body, which are really not needed if you simply trained hard. So that brings me back to training hard. How do we know if we train hard? And somebody asked me this question the other day. They said, Cornelius, now you got me questioning myself. How do I know if I'm training hard? Put it this way. If you're meant to take a set to failure, that means you move the weight until you literally cannot get another rep. Once you've done that set and you've reached a failure point, think back to yourself and think, if I had a gun pointing to my head right there, or pointing at one of my loved ones, and the person behind the gun said, one more rep, or I'm pulling the trigger, would you have been able to do one more rep? If the answer is yes, you could have done one more rep, then you didn't go to failure. Years ago, I used to moderate on a board called TM Muscle, it was called. And one of the fellow moderators, his name was Joshua. He was a very scientific guy. I'm not sure exactly what he worked in, but I think it was something with biochem. And he and I were talking one day about mental preparation for the gym. And I remember it very well, because he said to me, Cornelius, before I go into the gym, I envision that this is my last workout on earth. After this workout, I'm taking whatever strength and power I have built, and I'm going into a different dimension. I'm going into a hell dimension, where I have to use my physical and mental power to literally fight demons for eternity. So this is my last chance to get mentally and physically ready. I was like, wow, that's a pretty extreme visualization. But then it made me really think about it, and I thought about my own visualizations when I train, and some of the things I've told myself and thought. Some of it has been pretty extreme things. Sometimes I've thought to myself, especially if I was in a contest, let's say a powerlifting contest, before my last lift, I would tell myself, if you don't get this, you have to either like give up training, or what, somebody in your family will die, something really extreme to get the central nervous system really fired up so I could go and put 100% effort in. Am I saying you should do that every single time you work out? Absolutely not. You will burn out psychologically, you'll burn out physically, it'll be a horrendous thing for you to do. But what I am saying is, do mentally rehearse the workout. Do take it seriously. So go into your training ground, which is your gym, whatever kind of a setup you have, and really, I hate the phrase go to war, because I find it disrespectful to people who really do go to war. And I'm a huge fan of our country's military and forces in general, so I don't like to use that term. But put it this way, go into your own personal war against yourself and get the most out of yourself that you possibly can each time you work out. And then even if it was the most basic workout with equipment that is really quite subpar, if you put in the effort, you are going to get the results. You're going to go back, you're going to sit on your couch, you're going to feel accomplished, you're going to have your endorphin rush, you're going to be good for the day. And that's going to keep you on track, physically, but more importantly, psychologically. Because at the end of the day, most of us who train and train really hard and extremely do so for a reason. And that reason varies from person to person, but there is a reason. And if we take that training away, negative things can happen all over the board. And for every person will be different, but bad things will happen. So with that said, I'm about to go into my garage and I'm about to do my own workout. And I'm literally going to give it everything I've got, because I want to feel that endorphin rush. I want to feel accomplished after the workout. So I'm going to go and make it happen. I hope you do too.